FLM, wide open thinking, world-class work, and far-reaching results. Now with locations in Minneapolis, Columbus, Indianapolis, and Washington, D.C. A strategic marketing and communications company dedicated to serving clients who specialize in the business of agriculture and the life of rural communities.
Today we're here with Katie Pratt, the winner of the U.S. Farmers and Ranchers Alliance Face of Farming contest. Katie, thank you for joining us on National Ag Day.
Thank you for having me.
Can you start by telling us a little bit about your operation and your experience in agriculture?
Certainly. Well, I'm a farm girl. I was born and raised on a farm, and my husband and I are seventh-generation farmers. We raise corn, soybeans, and seed corn in northern Illinois. And we work with his family, so we're supporting 3 families on our farm. And you know, my experience with agriculture, as I said, it's been lifelong. It's always been a part of who I am and what I do and what I talk about these days.
Can you describe some of the activities you're doing here in Washington, D.C. for National Ag Day?
Yes, this morning I participated in a panel discussion with the U.S. Farmers and Ranchers Alliance. They were talking about the new language, the new words we can use to talk about food production with the non-farming public, with our consumers. And then I've just been meeting a lot of people, and hopefully there's no quiz at the end of the day. And then this evening we're having dinner with some influencers, people who are, you know, kind of high level and interested in talking about food production and where we can improve, how we can further this conversation about food.
Can you describe some of the new language in those conversations that you mentioned?
Right. Well, it's really about making a connection. And so farmers for so long, you know, farmers aren't notoriously the people that are going to stand up and talk about what they want to do. Mm-hmm. And when you do talk about farming, we use a lot of different terms that people may not be familiar with. So it's really about making connection on a very basic level, understanding people's concerns about their food and acknowledging those, and then talking about how we're improving every day on what we do on the farm. But no longer using words like safe or abundant or affordable, which may be terms that we think are very easy to use and they roll off the tongue and they really do describe what we do, but they don't resonate with the non-farming public anymore.
Sure. So what are some of your past experiences with the public misunderstanding you, and what motivated you to compete for the Face of Farming?
Well, you know, they laugh at home and call me the tour guide on the farm because we've always hosted different tour groups on our farm. And so we've had lots of conversations with people from different backgrounds about what it is we do, why we do it. We talk about biotechnology a lot. We are corn farmers and soybean farmers, and so biotechnology is a tool that we have in our tool belt back home. They ask us about our pest management and how do we do that? Do we use pesticides? And so we have to address those issues. You know, I've had just a couple situations where there's been people with very strong opinions who wanted to make sure that I heard that opinion. Sure. But that's the great thing, is part of this conversation is that everybody can express their opinion, and as long as we do that in a very civil, respectful manner, I think we'll be able to move forward in understanding what consumers want and how farmers can produce that food.
Are there some challenges, particularly for young and beginning farmers, that are prominent but that people may not understand if they're outside of agriculture?
Right. Well, just breaking into farming as a career is difficult, I think. And I mean, difficult when you talk about startup costs and land and equipment and your inputs and things like that. But I think that the great thing for beginning farmers and ranchers today is that they are coming in when food is the hot topic, when people want to talk about agriculture. And so they're coming in at a time where their dedication to their craft, so to speak, is going to be front and center. And I think that gives people an extra incentive to do the very best that they can do. And I do think that younger farmers and ranchers, they kind of get it. They get that we are living in this globe, you know, this glass bowl, and so we need to do the best we can. There really is no room for error.
What are some examples from your experience so far in DC and as the face of farming for USFRA that promoted these conversations that you're talking about, positive experiences that have successfully promoted this new conversation about agriculture?
Right. Well, the movement is just exciting anyway, I feel. But what I find most exciting about Faces of Farming and Ranching, of which I'm just one, there's 4 of us. My fellow Faces are from Missouri, Alabama, and North Carolina, but we're connecting with a whole bunch of different people. We're not talking to the choir anymore. You're not talking farmer to farmer so much anymore. And we're connecting, though, within agriculture as well. A corn farmer sitting down with a poultry farmer, and you have livestock and crops, you have produce as well. So it's bringing to the table all of agriculture, which is so diverse and so different. But we're all talking about what we need to do to further this conversation. And so meeting those people, both in and out of agriculture, I think is probably one of the most exciting things about the Faces of Farming and Ranching.
What would be some advice that you would give other farmers to promote this conversation, as well as give people here in DC trying to work for farmers and ranchers in the United States?
Right, well, you have to start telling your story. My husband routinely says to me, I farm, you talk. He's not the talker of the family, but then I say to him that it's up to you to farm the best that you can, so that when I'm out there talking, what I say is truth. I know what's happening back on the farm is exactly what I'm saying. But it is our responsibility. It doesn't matter what you grow on a farm. It doesn't matter how big your farm is, if you're organic or conventional, multi-generational, or just beginning. We all must play a role in just talking about our own personal experience. You don't have to know all the facts and figures, but talk about your experience on the farm. And then 2, I would encourage people to go and visit fooddialogues.com. The U.S. Farmers and Ranchers Alliance have put together quite a comprehensive website that has so many different resources. We're trying to promote a very unbiased information about agriculture, and so there's a great resource on the website called Food Source. It addresses some of those big topics like biotechnology, the use of antibiotics, animal welfare, things like that. And underneath each of these subheadings is this list of articles and research and other websites to check out that just has some really great factual information about each of those issues. So it's a good resource to visit.
Great. And finally, is there a specific goal that you want to accomplish while you are the face of farming and ranching?
Yeah, I think the goal of the program of being the face of farming and ranching and of Faces is that we're talking to people that we don't normally talk to.
Sure.
So instead of speaking to the choir, we're addressing audiences that farmers haven't spoken with before. And we've been able to do that at a couple different events, talking with grocery manufacturers and food retailers. But it really, I feel, it always comes back to that one-on-one. Someone just has an honest question and you're able to provide an honest answer. And I think that's what people appreciate the most.
Katie Pratt, the USFRA Face of Farming and Ranching. Thank you so much.
Thank you.